segment of this week and this day in the NFL. There's just a few things I'll kind of run through. All right, so September 2nd, 1936, the third Chicago Charities College All-Star Game pitted the defending NFL champions at the time, the Detroit Lions. Remember this before the Super Bowl era? So, yes, they did win championships before the Super Bowl era. Anyway, so the Detroit Lions against the best players from the college ranks. So, basically, those exhibition type games. They played at Soldier Field, and so they pitted the defending championship team against all these different college players that were high ranking. And basically, it was tied. It ended up in a tie, 7-7. So I don't know what that means. That an NFL team at the time went up against high-ranked college, players, and they came out 7-7. But then again, this was the 1930s. The 1930s was a lot more physical, as we know. It was a lot more defense. It was more running the ball and things like that. So they didn't really like passing, which I'll get into that later. But they really didn't like the passing game. They thought it made the sport weaker. So, so I can see why maybe that happened. Anywho,
there you go.
So that was one day. We're still sticking to September 2nd. So September 2nd, 1966, the Miami Dolphins played their very first game ever. So again, this is 1966. Their first game ever against the Oakland Raiders in front of 26,776 fans at the Orange Bowl. Because again, there was a time, honestly, which it still is, college football was king, and it's kind of where a lot of NFL teams and stuff would play. So they would actually play in a lot of like college stadiums. Anyway. Yep. So Joe Oyer starts the franchise off right by returning the opening kick 95 yards for a Miami touchdown. But the Raiders did come back in that game and defeated Dolphins 23-14. But again, this was just their kind of first game. So this is when the Miami Dolphins were launched. I hope Bobby's watching. So September 2, 1966. September 3rd, 1895, excuse me. September 3rd, 1895. So we're going way back. The reason is this is the first time they actually played someone to play football. Because remember, before it was all about college. So this was like the first time that they actually paid a player to come play a football game. And so it was quarterback John Brayler. They paid him $10 plus expensive. So again, this is 1895. So take $10 with a grain of salt, right? So they paid him $10 plus expenses to play for the Latrobe Athletic Association at the time. And so that's kind of the first time that they decided to pay somebody to play football. And so it was September 3rd, 1895, and it was $10, and then they also paid for his expenses.
All right.
September 3rd, 1995, debuted two NFL expansion franchises. That was the Jacksonville Jaguars, who opened against the Houston Oilers. The second team that launched also September 3rd, 1995 were the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, they lost in overtime to Atlanta at that time, 23-20 in the Georgia Dome. The Jaguars lost to the Houston Oilers 10-3. So, anyways, in case you wanted to know how those two expansion games, the expansion games panned out. So now we're moving on a couple days in this week, right? Because that's what we call it this week in NFL. So September 4th, 1927, the New York Yankees football franchise. That's right. That's why, if you want to look more sports history as to why we have the baseball team, they did have the New York Yankees football franchise of Red Grange played in the original American Football League. As everyone remembers, there were a lot of upstart leagues right at this time, trying to compete with the NFL. This is before unification, all that good stuff. The Yankees were a short-lived professional football team that existed from 1926 to 1929. The team was founded by Red Grange's agent, C.C. Pyle, as a rival to the NFL. Grange, who was known as the Galloping Ghost, was the star of the team and helped to draw large crowds to their game. The Yankees play their home games at Yankee Stadium. And they also played some games on the road. They were a member of the first, as I said, the first AFL, American Football League. But the league folded after one season. Then the Yankees went on and joined the NFL in 1927. Unfortunately, they didn't have a long life in the NFL either. So they moved to the NFL in 1927, but they only played for 2 more seasons. And so, unfortunately, in 1929, they folded. But this was when they were founded, was September 4th, 1927. In case you like football history, look into that a little bit. All right, moving on to today, September 5th, 1906. Now, I know, again, we're talking about college, but it's important. So, September 5th, 1906, St. Louis University quarterback Bradbury Robinson throws the first legal forward pass in history of American football. So, again, like I said, this was rough and tough. People actually didn't like the forward pass. Just like today, football fans have always been sticklers, and they thought that it would wussy the game if you kept passing. So they were not a fan. But it started in college because, again, things started in college and moved into the NFL. So obviously that was adopted later. But the first forward pass happened September 5th, 1906. Okay, so just so you know. And then finally, September 5th, 2002, the first time ever that the NFL season started on a Thursday night game was when the 49ers defeated the New York Giants. So I know you think about Thursday night football, but honestly, it didn't exist before 2002. So
there you go.
Yeah, so there you go. That is your This Week in NFL History.